Have you ever wondered how there are so many galaxies in our Milky Way? Because the universe is too dark, vacuumed, and empty. What's this anonymous force pulling all the planetary bodies together? Astronomers are way too much interested in finding the mystery behind the accelerating powers of galaxies, but have had no luck yet. NASA has even launched several missions to explore the ambiguous force, and the factual counterstatement they discovered is beyond spectacular. In all the space chaos, there's this Dr. Sarah Reynolds, who's been leading the team of astrophysicists that aims to explore the cosmos. Though, while exploring the cosmos, it's worth mentioning that they might not have known if such an object could exist. It was all an assumption until NASA's scientists really stumbled into the Laniakea Supercluster. But before we discuss what this supercluster was, let's take a look at the background. The Deep Space Observatory is a state-of-the-art facility constructed atop a remote mountaintop, far away from the light pollution of civilization. Designed and operated by NASA, it represents the pinnacle of technological advancement in the field of astrophysics. The cosmic exploration team was making an observation at that place, and suddenly, on one fateful night, their observatory's gravitational wave detector picked up anomalies at the outskirts of the Laniakea Supercluster. The team of NASA was too enthusiastic to research further, but they didn't make a final statement and properly evaluated what this supercluster was. On the largest cosmic scale, Earth is the most populated body that appears to be anything but special. Like hundreds of billions of other planets in our galaxy, we orbit our parent star. Like hundreds of billions of solar systems, we revolve around the galaxy. And like most galaxies, we are grouped or clustered together. And like those groups and clusters, we are a small part of a large, structured body containing around 100,000 galaxies. Doesn't it sound amusing? The Earth is a very tiny part of this massive universe, and while surviving on its surface, no one has ever looked at this fact except the mighty NASA. The hulk that has clustered those hundreds and thousands of massive galaxies is known to be called Laniakea, which means immense heaven. The superclusters aren't something new to the scientists, but this time they are just more visible to research further. These superclusters have been found and properly researched throughout our observable universe, where they're more than 10 times as rich as the largest known clusters of galaxies. But owing to the dark energy in the universe, all the superclusters, including Laniakea, are only apparent structures. However, some scientists say in reality, they are more like phantasms that are basically an illusion or a mental image that appears real but is not physically present. But this is not completely scientifically proven yet. Calling the superclusters phantasm also tends to the fact that they dissolve before our very eyes can detect them. Everything aside, do you know what's the burning discussion here? The researchers have found a mysterious object in the center of a cluster of galaxies that may be devouring other galaxies, raising questions about the potential danger to Earth. But how can an object single-handedly devour all the millions of galaxies? Are the galaxies really tiny, or do they have some real mysterious powers? Let's take a closer look. Laniakea Supercluster is home to millions of galactic bodies and spans 520 million light-years. It was basically discovered in 2014 when a group of researchers defined superclusters using galaxies' relative velocities. Even now, later studies suggest that the Laniakea Supercluster is not gravitationally bound. In comparison with surrounding areas, it will disperse rather than remain dense. This supercluster has a mass over 1017 solar masses, or 100,000 times that of our galaxy, which is almost the same as that of the Horologium supercluster. Before the discovery of Laniakea, its 4 subparts were originally considered a supercluster. The most massive galaxy clusters of the Laniakea supercluster are Virgo, Hydra, Centaurus, Abell 3565, Abell 3574, Abell 3521, Fornax, Eridanus, and Norma. Not only this, but Laniakea is also supposed to have a 300 to 500 cluster group, and that number is just a hypothetical calculation. The real number can be much larger than that because some of the group of clusters are traversing the zone of avoidance, which is partially obscured by gas and dust from the Milky Way galaxy, making them virtually indistinguishable from the rest of the sky. But among all these clusters and galaxies, the Laniakea Supercluster has a mysterious spot at its center, and that's called the Great Attractor. This is exactly what scientists are scared of, saying it can devour all the galaxies together. The Great Attractor is basically a mysterious anomaly located within Laniakea that also includes our very own Milky Way. It's said to be the most centered point of the cluster that pulls all the gravitational force on the galaxies around it. Owing to its central location, the Great Attractor might be supposed to engulf all the planetary bodies around through its massive gravitational pull. The Great Attractor's story began in the 1970s, when astronomers Vera Rubin and Kent Ford discovered a peculiar anomaly. The point to ponder was that surrounding bodies weren't moving here and there freely, but they had the specific motion in a particular direction by an unseen force. They named that unexpected motion peculiar velocity. Further investigations by astronomers like Alan Sandage and Roger Brent Tully confirmed this observation and led them to the Great Attractor. With the help of unknown peculiar velocity, both scientists were able to identify a spot located in the direction of the constellations Norma and Triangulum Australe as the source of this gravitational pull. However, scientists have discovered that the Great Attractor is somewhere between 150 and 250 million light-years away from Earth, in the direction of the constellations Triangulum Australe, which is the Southern Triangle, and Norma, which is the Carpenter's Square. Despite these facts, scientists have found the galaxy's engulfable object isn't directly observable. It can be detected by gravitational influence on the motions of galaxies around it. Moving on to the construction of the Great Attractor, it's also known to be filled with thousands of massive galactic bodies with a vast amount of dark matter. However, its actual composition is not truly known. Its structure is also pretty unique. It might not be a single-point mass, but a complex structure with several dense regions, including the Shapley concentration and the Norma cluster. Researchers so far have concluded that this central spot of Laniakea has the potential to eat the whole Milky Way owing to its massive gravitational pull, but unfortunately, they aren't able to prove it yet. But there are several ways this Great Attractor can really engulf and potentially dissipate the planetary bodies around it. One reason could be as the galaxy approaches the Great Attractor, it experiences intense tidal forces due to the uneven distribution of its mass. The tidal force might not seem this intense, but it really can stretch and distort the galaxies, potentially leading to the destruction of stars and gas. Even in extreme cases, there are chances of total disruption of the galaxy's structure, with its components scattered or absorbed into the Great Attractor's gravitational well. Another way that we can say the Great Attractor can eat or distort the galaxies is it contains a hot, tenuous gas known as the intracluster medium, or ICM. As the galaxies come closer to this intense gaseous material, they experience extremely intense REM pressure that has the potential to strip the gas and dust away. This process can deprive the galaxy of its fuel for star formation, eventually leading to its demise. Not only this, but with massive gravitational pull, the Great Attractor's dense, complex structure increases the potential of galaxies encountering and stumbling upon each other. Depending on the sizes and masses of the involved galaxies, such mergers could lead to the complete absorption of smaller galaxies into larger ones. Another potential way the Great Attractor engulfs its surrounding galactic bodies is the Great Attractor harbors a black hole at its center position. Thus, if the galaxies stay too close to it, they can be torn apart by its immense gravitational pull, with their material ultimately being consumed by the black hole. Also, the centralized location of the Laniakea Supercluster can also have other, less understood effects on galaxies, just like its radiation and intense turbulence can potentially dissipate or destroy the star formation and galactic evolution. But it's worth mentioning that all the factors regarding ICM, REM pressure, and tidal forces are totally hypothetical. The engulf of galaxies can be done that way, but it hasn't done yet. This is why scientists are pretty scared that if these scenarios really happen, no one can stop the destruction worldwide. So with that, let's end the video here. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and let us know your thoughts on this planetary object that's eating galaxies.